Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. We're
Hello,
awake.
everyone.
Welcome to Adobe Live. I am your host, Jasmine Whitaker, and I'm here with the lovely Kladi from Printmysoul.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me back. It feels absolutely great.
Of course. Everybody's alive and up and ready to go on the chat.
So many people writing already.
I know. You guys are morning people, I assume, or night people, depending on where you are. Hi, Mark. Hi, Jesus. Oh, he's there.
Yeah, there is Julia also.
Julia.
Rafael from Mexico. Amazing.
Valder. Lindsay Palmer. Hi, Lindsay. I remember you. Aldison. Welcome.
It's great to see everyone here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
We have a fun-filled day planned.
Yes,
We have
really,
a
really
lot
exciting.
to cover.
I'm just going to go ahead and introduce myself because I see a lot of familiar faces,
Yes.
but
Hey,
many of
Bazoo.
you probably don't know who I am. Literally arrived 2 days ago from Manchester, so yeah, that's probably the jet lag. My name is Claudia. I don't know if we can share my screen here because I've got a little bit of treats and info about me. So if we can go and have my screen, please, on. I think we're just gonna have a little fairy
No
helping us with the
worries.
screen.
It's early, guys. How's everyone
Our
doing
little
in the
fairies
chat
helping us.
today?
Little fairy.
Yes, our fairy god brother, fairy god brother.
I like that name.
That's kind of cool. Good afternoon.
Here we go. It was worth it to see a picture of
Alright.
me upside down, wasn't it?
I definitely think so. You look like you're like doing some cool like levitating.
That was
stuff.
actually in Adobe San Jose
Oh yeah.
on the super amazing Photoshop floor. So I had the chance to take this really cool picture. So anyway, I'm just gonna introduce myself again. My name is Claudia, but I go by Kladi, which is actually my nickname. There is a strong reason behind the nickname, which is that basically I love to see people smile
So cute.
since I was very young. And when you pronounce my Italian name Claudia in English, it sounds like Claudia, and that brings a frown on your face. And I don't want to settle with that. That's why I decided to use my nickname Kladi. So there is a smile on everyone's face when they call my name. As I said, I'm from the beautiful south of Italy, a lovely rural area called Salento. And I've been traveling a lot because it's beautiful, but there is not much to do there. And as much as it's good to relax afterward, after a bit.
You mean there's more to life than just like eating and relaxing?
Yes. If you're passionate about something, yes.
I guess I've been doing it wrong.
Yeah. So I started to travel a lot to discover something else to do besides eating Italian food and relaxing. So traveling is definitely one of my passion. But also I've been a little sporty spy since I was very young. As you can see here, there's me like with a bunch of sailor. I started to be part of the Italian Federation team, and I was actually competing and sailing on the sea. And I don't know if there is any skater out there, but that's me competing.
Oh
with
my
a
god,
skater.
I'm a skater! Oh my gosh,
super
that
cool.
was my favorite thing growing up.
That's super cool. I love that as well. And another part of you guys may don't know about me. I used to be a graffiti artist. I had some question yesterday on Instagram. Unfortunately, I do not practice that much anymore. But if you have a free wall, hit me up. I'm ready to get my hand dirty again with some paint.
We should have you do something here at Adobe.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah.
So as I said, I come from a small village, so a cool job as a designer in which I could, fulfill my passion with colors. Wasn't really, even an option there. I didn't know what a designer was when I was back home. So I ended up pursuing a communication career, and I studied public relation. And actually, when I was very young, I found out this just yesterday. This picture, my mom made this beautiful composition. She's been absolutely lovely. I managed to design and publish a cover for a book of poetry, children's poetry, when I was 10.
Children's poetry.
Yes.
You're already ahead of the game.
So that was very cute discovery. My mom was like, messaged me like, you need to show this.
What
so here
was
we go,
it
Mom.
about?
I showed it.
I'm so curious what deep thoughts you had at that age. What was
Yeah.
it about? Tell us. was?
Well, it's as you see, you know, the inspiration. I love the sea. I'm from the very tip of the hill of Italy, so you know, when you go to the sea, you don't see anything else rather than seagulls and the beautiful sunset into the water, and that was the representation of it. So unfortunately, though, I couldn't really pursue my artistic career because in a small village, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer. So I started my office job in communication, which landed me a very prestigious work experience. And that's me when I started working. I was at the UN in New York. I was actually a communication manager for an assistant delegate for Burundi. I don't know if there is anyone on the chat who knows where Burundi is. It's a very tiny.
Naples is in the house.
Oh, wow.
Anywhere?
Well, Burundi is in Africa, so it's not in
Oh,
Italy.
okay. Oh.
But
Guys, too early. I don't know my geography.
yeah, no, well, I didn't know where it was until I started working with them. And the issue there was, as you can see, I had a little bit of duality going on. Communicator at the UN in the morning, all dressed up, and then illegal graffiti artist at night. I needed to find a way to balance that because, yeah, it wasn't working very well, even for my psyche, you know, like a bit of double personality development.
I think everybody has their side gig and their alter ego, and I think it's great. I mean,
yeah, well,
awesome.
I think that my manager there really helped me to figure it out what to do. I was definitely not settled in my role because the duality there was too strong. I was writing press release and worrying about the color of the font, the resolution of the logo, which were not my duties at all. So they invited me to hang out with the creative team, and I found my family there. I've completely realized that my passion was into visual communication, and that's why I moved back to Manchester, because that was New York. I moved back into Europe and Manchester, and as you can see, I started to inject my passion for colors, for shapes, for graffiti, and this is that was my last uni project in which I translated a wall canvas into a typeface. Wow. And then it became also an installation in university. This is a project that is very dear to me because it also it is inspired by theory of Gestalt, which is a theory of perception. I am dyslexic, and theory of perception explain the way the brain works when you perceive information. So this is a proximity. It basically talks about how you make sense of objects when they are close to each other, and that's pretty much what the job of a designer does. Arranging object in space. And I'm sharing this story with you guys because I really want to reinforce the idea that it doesn't matter if you don't study design. It doesn't matter if you never draw before. I used to be super scared to approach and to become a designer. I was doing something completely different. I had an office job, and just follow your passion and be patient. Don't worry if the door is closed. Just keep going, be stubborn, and really put your heart into your passion, because eventually it will pan out okay. And that's where I am right now. That's actually a very recent photo of my desk in Manchester. I'm not there very often, I must say, because I'm traveling a lot, but I've set it up.
It looks very nice and tidy.
Here behind me, tidy because I wasn't there. Behind me, you can see Printmysoul. If you want to check me out on social media, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Behance, Facebook, and the handle is at Printmysoul. I don't know if I move this way, probably can see it. Here it is. So if you guys want to link up, follow me, send me a message. The handle is at Printmysoul. Nice. There we go. Thank you so much, Fairy.
Perfect. Well, we have a little housekeeping. We do have a chat and win coming up in a little bit over 20 minutes, so make sure you stick around for that. And then if you haven't already, start submitting your work for the Daily Creative Challenge. We would love to see your work.
Absolutely.
Get some really good advice and feedback from Miss Kladi and I.
I look forward to see your work. Make sure that you submit it in time, because I want to see all of them.
Yes.
So just to go back real quick at what I do, and then we're going to get our hands dirty as soon as possible. I run the studio with Maria. I really wanted to mention her because she's a dear friend of mine and my colleague. We run Studio Printmysoul together. She's working very hard in Manchester, where I'm here enjoying Californian sun and enjoying my time with you guys. So she's really taking care of our clients now. The business is called Printmysoul. That stands for marking a soul. And that's what branding is. This is the topic also of today, graphic design stream is branding. And I see branding as marking a customer soul. And that's why, as we did the other time during my previous stream, it's really important to listen to a customer in order to then go ahead and represent their business. Those are some of the work that we've done during those years, a lot of identities. Also, guys, I've created some resources for you, which are gonna come up soon. Here a little bit about my book. After coming here in March, I flown back to Europe, and I ended up receiving an amazing award, which is the Fedrigoni Top Award 2019. Yay. I have 75,000 thank you to say because I've been voted by so many people. And again, I want to enforce the message. I've never designed, I've never drawn before, if not, when I was a kid on my mom's table. I never studied art, and I ended up winning a top award. I was sitting next to, a huge brands team, and it was just absolutely exciting for me even to be there. So yeah, pursue your passions.
Pursue your passions,
yes.
Your dreams. Never say never.
Yes, and that was me actually the other time in March where we spoke about branding. We focused a lot on mood boards and logo design. You can still see the replays on Behance, on the Adobe Creative Cloud channel on YouTube, or also on my website. I've created a lot of resources for you guys this time because I don't want to go too much in length about brand theory. You can find a glossary here on my Behance page. There is a project, this one here, called Adobe Live 2. You're going to be able to find useful resources. I've also created a brand new website called iamkladi.com, in which you can find plenty of resources to download for free. They're all related to the stream and what we're going to be doing today and tomorrow. You can find branding glossary in order to have an understanding of what we're doing from a theory point of view as well, and mock-ups and InDesign template, Photoshop template.
Oh my goodness, lots of freebies, yes. Guys.
And also there is here a page where you can go and check the videos that we did last time. I think they'll be very useful in order to support what we're doing today as well. So I strongly advise you to go there and check them out. Let's start about branding and let's jump into InDesign. The reason why I wanted to move a little bit forward from the other time is because we worried about designing a logo, but the logo is not the brand. It's actually a brand commissions a logo to design, but a branding is the overall images, the overall set of graphics that represent a business towards the consumer digitally or on print on different media. So again, if you go into the resources, you can have a read throughout all the definition to have a better understanding. This is today's plan, mood boards, logo creation. We're just going to do an emblem real quick, and then we're just going to jump in Photoshop and talk about what a social media kit is, and I'm going to help you guys to build your social media kit on Photoshop in order to have available for you and for your customer always there. So let's go and jump and open our mood boards. If you want to follow up, you can go again on the Behance, behance.net/printmysoul, or iamkladi.com, and download the version 1.2 of the mood board template. So you can jump on with us and work straight away on the mood board. So I'm going to do that myself. If we go here on our Adobe Live templates, you can see the mood boards and the link, which will directly download your mood board template.
I'm gonna download these myself.
If we double click and open on the file that we just download. First of all, while the InDesign kicks in, I want to give you a little clue difference if you guys don't know the difference between an InDesign file and a template. If an InDesign file, the extension is without a T, the template will have a T at the end, and a template will allow you to create copies of a file. So we're always working on a new file here. And let's go ahead and have a look. If we work on the main InDesign file, whatever change you make, they're gonna be kept in the main file, while whatever change we're gonna make here is gonna be saved into a different file.
Right.
So let's go and jump on our template. As you can see, slightly different from what we've done the other time. I'm gonna go and open the final result, so we have a look into what we're looking to achieve. Here it is. And let's talk about our case study. As we said before, mood boards are very useful in order to get a hint of the industry and our client. Today I'm going to present a real case study. This is a project that I'm working on in Manchester. Is a client that I'm helping to rebrand their business with. They are an amazing Mediterranean restaurant called Olive and Thyme. We're gonna go over and do brand lifting, menu design. So I thought it would be really cool for you guys to see some real work and stuff that I do during my everyday life. The object of the mood board is to get into the look and feel, and again, the mood is, as the word says. So we're gonna transport each other into the breeze of the Mediterranean.
Yes, please.
Yes, we're gonna have the sea breeze, and then we're gonna have the smell of the beautiful spices, fresh food, home style, friendly and warm, and Mediterranean feel. So that's what we're looking to achieve with our branding today, with our overall set of imagery that we're gonna create for my client, for our client, because we're working on it together. And let's go ahead and have a look at what the mood boards are gonna look like. So I think it's time to start to do some work and jump into InDesign and start to create this mood board.
Let's get dirty.
Yes, so if you go on your panel on the right, let's make sure that we have a full view of my menu here. Probably have to make this window a little bit smaller so you guys can follow along just fine. That should be, let's see if I can manage to do that. If we need a I did it, perfect. So I just needed to resize my window here, which I've done by using the corner of your InDesign window. So I just want to make sure that you guys can follow what I'm doing step by step. So if you press the layer panels here on your right, you can see that on your InDesign template we have 3 different layers, and these green layers control these swatches dots. We don't need them right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on this little eye in order to hide them. We're gonna talk about how to place images into our frames that you can find here. If you do not see the frame on your file, don't worry, they're there. You're probably just working on a preview mode. In order to come back on our normal view, hit the W key. As you can see now, everything disappears. And if you hit the W key again, you go into normal work where you can see your pasteboard and you can see your frame. In order to start placing images into your frame, there are different ways of doing so. As you know, that's the beauty of the amazing, Adobe app. You can create your own workflow. My objective here is to show mine. Hopefully, will help you to work more efficiently and take full advantage of the Creative Cloud seamless workflow, which is amazing with the use of the libraries and all the cool things that we're going to see together, guys. So much time going to be saved.
Yes,
you can go and have a bit of relax because we're going to save so much time working. So let's start placing some images. First of all, I would like to download some images, and one of the amazing features of InDesign is that you can go ahead and download your images straight away from Adobe stock within InDesign. You can search your images and you can download it, you can license it, and you can place it in your frame. So let's go and find our libraries, which are here on the panel on the right. Let's click on CC Libraries and make sure that it says searches Adobe stock, because otherwise you can look in other libraries. So make sure that you can toggle this menu and click Adobe stock if it's not there. And in this case, I'm just gonna use one of the keyword. So Mediterranean food. That could be a good keyword to start searching. And here we go, directly from Adobe stock. Plenty of images for us to use. What we can do, we can click on this little cloud here. On a little cloud. And in this case, I already created a folder called Rebranding Olive and Thyme. And if you make sure that you created a specific library, you can do so by clicking on Create a New Library. Already done so, so I'm just gonna select my library. And when we're gonna click on the cloud, the preview of the image is gonna land. Here we go, it's updating straight away, ready to use. In this case, I'm not gonna license it for one reason only. I'm using this image as a reference. It's not gonna go to my client, it's not gonna be an output. I'm just using it to understand the mood, the color, the elements that are gonna be part of our branding. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just very simply click on our brand new image that we just synced from our libraries into InDesign. We didn't leave InDesign for a second. We did everything within the InDesign, and we're gonna drag it into our frame. As you see, I just wanna do this step by step. Oops, let's go ahead and press Command Z to undo. I wanted to show you that there is the preview is here, so basically loads it on your pointer, and then you can go ahead and select whatever frame you like to place the image into. All you have to do is click the pointer with the preview in the frame that you want to use. Now, something really cool happened here. The photo already resized itself, and it shows here we have some fresh salmon. So you already went into focus the most important, most relevant part of the photo. And this happens thanks to amazing InDesign CC 2019 release, which is the content-aware feed. If you're not familiar with it, the content-aware feed is powered by Adobe Sensei, which is the Adobe Artificial Intelligence. Clever stuff here.
Yes.
I have no clue.
Smarties running around everywhere.
Work behind the scene. I know that Adobe has done a great work to make it happen, and it just is a great time saver. In the past, I used to select the photos, drag it around,
and
yeah, all you gotta do now is to click, and Adobe Sensei will look at the overall photo, because he's clever, and he or she is clever.
They are clever.
They're clever.
There's multiple.
And it's just gonna fit the photo into the frame and selecting the hero content. If you're not sure if a content aware is working on your InDesign, we can go ahead and check our preferences by going into InDesign, Preferences, General. At the very bottom of your General panel, which you can also access with the shortcut Command K on your keyboard, you can make sure that Content Aware Fit is ticked. So if you want to make a default, you can tick it. If you don't want to use it, and if you do not want to, save time, you can untick it. But I strongly recommend it to make a default. It's a huge time saver. All you gotta do is drop your images, and Adobe Sensei does the work for you.
Makes it look beautiful.
Another way to import images, if you are nice and neat and organized, is to place directly from your file. So I've done a lot of research. As I said, this is a client that I'm working on for real. So I've researched more images thanks to Adobe stock. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place them by pressing Command D. As you see, Command D opens a new dialog box. I'm gonna go into my folder here, Day 1 Moodboards, and see the import. Now, I've been very neat here, and I strongly advise to do so. When you drag and drop your images that you use for your research, make sure that you split them into folders. The template that I've divided with you guys has got titles, which are pretty much the titles that are here. The mood boards that we're going to be looking at is typography, general look and feel, so industry, products, and then shape and patterns. So if we go here to look and feel, or maybe the general theme, and we select a few photos by clicking Shift and selecting our first photo, and then holding Shift on your keyboard and press to the last photo that we want to select and press Open. As you can see, we have the loader here. Let me see if we can. I would like to zoom, but you cannot zoom with the loader is in, but there is a little 6 in parentheses next to the preview that show you the amount of photos that are previewed and that are loaded to be placed in InDesign. We only have 3 boxes over here, so if we just want to have 3 photos, we can use the escape button 3 times. And as you can see, just kind of like get rid of some photo, which I find very, very awesome. And again, we're just going to click in our frame and place our photo, which our sensei is doing a great job into fitting. Yes.
Just so you know, we're a little bit under 4 minutes away from chat and win. So if you're getting excited,
sound exciting.
Yes, looking at all these images.
What's the win today?
It is Sticker Mule stickers.
Yes.
The best.
I was actually one of the winner before coming to
What?
the stream. Yeah.
What did you make? What kind of
I made like a
stickers?
plant. Yeah.
I was hoping.
I just got a brand new Mac, so I still, I don't want to. I
Yep.
don't want to spoil it yet. I'm just.
Yeah.
Just need to.
Clearly, I don't need any more stickers on my laptop. I can't find any more space.
I'm gonna have to start to get my MacBook dirty. It looks too shiny.
Right,
Too shiny
it's
from here.
just too clean.
Yes.
Make
So-
sure you guys stick around for that. 3 minutes away.
Stick around for some stickers.
And share them with us, please.
So let's move fast on this InDesign because I really want to get into creating some cool stuff on Photoshop today, and I just want to show you something real quick. 3 minutes sounds great. We can do it. If we go back on our panel here where it says layers, I want to show you another huge time saver. If we click back on our swatches, I can show you the way that I used to work in order to create palettes. So what I'll do, click on these dots here. As you can see, they are grouped. So I will double click in order to access the single elements. And then I'll go ahead and press A, which is the direct select tool, which is the white arrow over here, in order to click each one of the different and select each one of the different circle. Now make sure that your fill is on the foreground on your swatches, and then press I to select the eyedropper tool, and go ahead and start and select the color from the photos. So again, A for a direct selection, I, and select the color. And again, and again, and again.
So useful.
So useful, but also it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
There is a much clever way of working now. What I would done in the past, I would have, selected all these dots, copied, and then go back where our swatches are, and Command V and paste them, and then again brought them in. That is a very nice way to work, but it takes a lot of time. What we can do now is jump into color.adobe.com, which does all the work for you.
A secret weapon that no one knows.
As I said, I really wanted to show you stuff that is gonna make you more efficient and improve your workflow.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yes, with the library here is definitely possible. So what I'm gonna do is go back into my InDesign file, go back to the mood board that we created. Let's click on the hide to toggle visibility and hide our mood board. Press W to go in preview mode, and then take a screenshot. I'm not sure what is on the PC, but on the Mac is Shift Command 4, and then I'm just gonna drag it over very, roughly. It doesn't have to be perfect. All I care about is that my images are there. My screenshot is getting loaded on my desktop. In the meantime, I'll go back in my browser, and let's see. There it is, my browser, and we are on color.adobe.com, and I'm gonna click extract from image. I'm gonna go into my select file, desktop, and the screenshot that we just took from our mood board is there. Gonna click open. Color is gonna load the image, and it's done. Can you see the dots already there?
So smart.
And on top of it, you can move them around to select the colors you want. The eyedropper here is super specific. I mean, the transition of the pixel that you can check is astonishing, guys.
Such a useful tool.
And it's just like one click. You literally, place the image down and it's done. And also, you can load those watches in your InDesign. But we're gonna see those in a moment because I see the countdown is to 0.
It's time.
Yay!
Chat and win. Everyone start chatting.
I want to see where you guys are from, so let us
Yeah,
know.
give us a shout out. Tell us where you're from, what you're making. Oh my gosh, wow. Otherwise, blah, blah, blah. Adobe Color is fantastic. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Super
it
useful
is.
too.
File management is really important as well.
Sticker
I always
mule.
I always forget about the Adobe Color tool. I know a lot of people do, but it's amazing.
Look how we got Florida, we got Brazil, UK.
Sticker mule.
Hi, friends from the UK.
Ooh, Singapore in the house.
Oh, beautiful.
Singapore, more Florida,
Greece.
Lisbon, Mexico. I can't believe
That's
I'm
going fast
reading
now.
it.
That's fast.
Netherlands, California, Fresno, North
Seattle.
Carolina,
West Texas.
Colorado,
Oh my gosh.
and Texas.
Anyone from Italy? Nobody from
Italy?
Italy?
Come on, Italy. Oh my gosh.
Algeria.
Lots of people from Brazil today. Very cool. Keep going,
Actually, one of the
guys.
pictures that I showed during my presentation where my traveling was Búzios, which is in Brazil.
Ah.
Yes. Big love, big love.
Moscow, Santa
Oh, yeah.
Barbara. Keep going, guys. North Carolina, New York, a lot of countries.
Oh my God, that's
Algeria, Kansas City,
Alaska.
Planet Mars, that's where I'm from. Toronto, Alaska, Vancouver. I love seeing all these cities.
Type fast. We're about to reveal the winner here.
Almost there, guys. Almost
Type,
there.
type.
Keep going, keep going.
When I won, I was just like, Italy.
I would do one letter. Just go through the whole alphabet. A, B, C, D.
No shame. I want to win my stickers.
Saturn. Oh, hi. I love that there's so many
Oh,
people
UK.
from all over the galaxy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Jonathan! Congratulations, Jonathan. You have won your Sticker Mole stickers, and hopefully you're going to share them with us.
I think Jonathan was saying that I blew his mind before, so I think you got a double treat here. Now you got your sticker packs.
And you got all these lovely resources that you've provided.
Yes,
So
hopefully they're gonna be useful.
it's a double win. Thank you guys for chatting.
Jonathan, why don't you share the design that you're gonna use for your stickers on Discord? It'd be really cool to see what you make there.
Yes. And then send us one so we can all match.
Yes.
And we can get your laptop dirty.
I know. You really need some help here.
Just something. It's
Too
too
shiny. It's not good. No good at all. Congratulations, Jonathan, again.
Congrats. All right.
I think you got a little
Oh, and
here
if
for
you
everyone?
didn't win the chat and win, you still get a discount. So just go to stickermill/Adobe Live 19 and you will get a nice little treat. And you can too print out your stickers.
That's amazing.
I know.
think I'm gonna use that again. I
For
mean, I definitely
everyone.
need to use it again.
I do too. I gotta find some more room on here.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
So let's go back into our mood boards and colors. We're about to finish our InDesign and we're gonna jump into Illustrator. But before doing so, I wanna show you how to use the amazing palette that we created thanks to Adobe Color with one click. All we had to do is to go into extract from an image, load your photo from your files, and then as you can see, you move around the color in order to establish the palette that you're happy with. And you can see the preview up here and down here. You can save it to our CC library. Again, we're gonna be working on rebranding Olive and Thyme. So this is the library that I've already created. If you wanna create a new one, you always have the option down here. And I'm just gonna go and click save and let's see what happens. So, perfect. So if we go back in InDesign, and here on the right, we click on our CC libraries. Here it is. It's already there. So that's such a huge time
easy.
saver. What we're gonna do when we go and, when you guys are gonna be editing in your own time, your mood board into your palette, all you gotta do is simply click on the item and click the item from your swatches. And also, this is available in Photoshop and Illustrator. We're gonna jump into Illustrator in a second, and the assets that we downloaded in our library, they'll be there. So that's such, that blew my mind. When I realized that you can work like that with the CC library, the time that I save during my daily, work is amazing.
Yep. The suite is really just a happy family.
Yes.
Everyone's connected. You have all the same resources.
Yeah, you
Just
can
gotta
streamline
take
your
your time.
workflow to,
Yeah.
amazing speed.
Yes.
I'm just going to look at something real quick because another important component is the font, and I think is really worth mentioning because we're going to see the difference between InDesign and Illustrator in a second, is the integration of Adobe Font. Again, this is a brand new feature of InDesign CC 2019. We can have a look at the way it works real quick. If we select double click, as you can see, I had to double click because we have a group. The group is all the frame here, so we have to double click on the elements that we want to access and then double click again in order to select the type. I'm going to change it into Olive and Thyme, which is the name of our client, and then double click again to select the type. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go into my properties panel, which you can find on your right, and we have our character box, character dialog box. We can see that the font that we're using now is Bauhaus 93. If you guys don't see it, it's over here. So this is a zoom in on my character panel. let's zoom out. And when we select this menu here, that's Adobe font already in InDesign. The thing that you can do are amazing. So first of all, you can go ahead and select different filters. The reason why we're not seeing any font is because the star was selected. The star is already a filter which allows you to save your favorites and the most used. At the moment I don't have any, that's why it's not displaying any font. But if I unclick on it, we can see the font that we've been using recently. And those are the fonts that I have locally. So you can just hover on a different font and the preview is live on your InDesign document, or you can use this beautiful menu here and have your selected text as a preview. So you don't even have to hover it. You can just scroll down and have a look at a different text. You can also have a look into numbers. So the preview here on the right is numbers, or the alphabet, or the word typography. So again, this is an absolutely amazing feature that allows you to work with much more speed. You can also make the preview of different sizes. I like, depending on your screen, I like to work quite big. And also you can filter by classification, depending if you need a serif font or a slab. You can just click and automatically Adobe Font will select and filter the font that you have. Also, yes, you can do something super cool. You can bring in new fonts that you don't have from the huge Adobe font library by clicking on Find More. So here we go. Those are fonts. There are thousands and thousands of fonts here. All you gotta do once you find the one that looks good, you just click on the cloud,
download it,
and it will activate it. Isn't that amazing?
So quick and dirty.
Yes.
It's really hard to just go through so many fonts because they're just right there.
But the most important thing, to be honest with you, in the past, I used to go on Adobe Font, search the font that I liked, get my little notebook, write it down, misspell it, of course, and then, fonts name are quite exotic as well. So
I was like, where did this come from?
It was so hard to find the font that I was looking for. And like that, I don't even have to leave InDesign. I don't even have to put my hands off my laptop. I just have to click on the dialog box here and just go ahead and download the font that I need. Now let's jump into Illustrator. If you want to know more about moodboard creation, I strongly advise to go back on my previous live. Again, you can find the videos on behance.net/live/replays, on the Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel, on my website. But I strongly advise to have a look at that videos in order to really have a full understanding on how to create the mood board. We've done a lot of work the other time, but it's time to jump in Illustrator right now. So,
and for whoever was asking,
I brought my calculator for no reason.
I think that font you had at the top was Bauhaus 93, I think.
The one that I was using before.
This one.
Oh yeah, let's have a look.
Yes, someone was asking for it.
Here it is.
There you go. Bauhaus 93.
Yes. Right. So let's go and jump on Illustrator. Here we go.
And yes, Noor, if you do have Adobe CC, you have
reference
access.
T-shirt here on Illustrator. I'm a big Illustrator fan. At Adobe Max last year, I became a proud owner of an Illustrator T-shirt.
I love that graphic. It's so good.
I wish you guys could see it, but my shiny laptop covers it. But here we go. We are in InDesign. I'm gonna already jump into the logo design. Again, I've already started the work, so I'm gonna bring you guys up to speed, and we're just gonna focus on creating an emblem. Again, just to recap what a logo is. The logo is the voice of a brand. The logo is not the brand. The logo gets commissioned by a brand. The key elements of the logo are the color, the typography, the icons. We need to make sure that we have all these elements working nice and tidy. And also what we're going to introduce today is the use of an emblem. An emblem allows you to be very flexible when using your logo. So when you have smaller display like a business card or a pin, you will be able to use a flexible version, which is a condensed version of the logo. And we're going to go ahead and create this together today. Something that is worth showing of Illustrator CC 2019, which also is very good, are the new preview mode and trim mode. And let me show you what these view modes are. They are, again, a huge time saver. If you look at my previous stream, I think on day 2, I showed you how to put together the logo that you present for your client in order to make it look nice and tidy. You know, sometimes Illustrator file can look very messy. You know, I have, you know, all this font over here. This is not an artboard. This is just a, you know, floating background. And I don't want to show my client all the type that I've selected, because I just want to show that the one that I thought they were already a valid choice. You know, that's another advice that I think is very useful for you guys. Do not show everything. It's great to share and it's great to be as transparent as possible, but once you make your selection, don't go back and show your client everything. That's just gonna make your life harder. Just show your client what you already believe that is a effective solution for them. So, for example, if my client jumps into a meeting and I really want to show them the logo, but I've not had time to create my beautiful InDesign presentation, which you can also, by the way, find into the resources on my website, we can use the new preview mode, which I find super, super cool. You can access it by pressing Shift F, and here we go. Beautiful. You have your artboard and only your artboard showing on your screen, and you can just toggle between them using the left and right key on your keyboard, and that allows you to show your client only the stuff that is really worth showing. And as you see, it trims here the artboard as well. In order to go back into our normal view, we simply press Escape on your keyboard, and here we are. So that's preview mode. There is another way to access this preview mode, which is by going on your view menu and go into presentation mode. Sorry, not preview mode, presentation mode, which allows you to have a preview. And again, you can access it with the shortcut Shift F on your keyboard. Another amazing view that is new on CC 2019 is the trim mode. That also allows you to show off how organized you are, even when you're not. So if you have to, or even just to simply have a preview of the artwork without all the overhanging items. So if you just want to have a look at what the item is going to look like within the frame of the artboard, we're just going to go into View and Trim View, and everything that sits outside the artboard magically disappear.
I didn't even know that. That's really cool.
Super cool. That's a very, very new release. So yeah, that's very, very fancy. I mean, look how neat I am. And in reality, my pasteboard is like. So let's focus on our client. Again, we are working with a Mediterranean restaurant. This is their previous logo. So we are actually rebranding. There is a new owner that bought the business. She's a lovely lady, lovely young lady. We're gonna have work on a picture, on her picture pretty soon on Photoshop. And she's desperate to jump into a more, friendly, this is a bit an old school logo, already seen, a little bit too literal, We just want something bold. Our demographic is, from 20 to 60, so it needs to be easy to read, eye-catching, memorable, modern, but at the same time, really embed all these brand core values that we expressed in our mood board. So in our mood board is when we selected our typefaces and our swatches. And those are the type lookups that I presented to the client during our meeting. She actually already selected this. So this is the real logo that she's gonna go for. And what we're gonna create now is an emblem. So this is the end result that we're aiming to create in Illustrator. In order to create that, I need to introduce you to the concept of clipping mask, which we're gonna see in a second. For now, just to give you an idea of how I created this composition, very easy. Again, as I say, the emblem is the condensed version of a full logo in order to be used in smaller environments. So what I'll do, the most important things of a name are of course the initial, and that's why I've selected the O, the ampersand, and the T. Let's go ahead and do it. So I've just copied here a logo. As you can see, the frame goes over the entire logo. in order to access the actual single element, I'm gonna have to double click. As you can see, we have almost like a website breadcrumbs here that show you where are we in terms of elements. We are in the group, and we'll be able to, again, there is another group, so I'm gonna have to double click again in order to access it. And as you can see, if you double click and enter the group, you can select the single element. There is another faster way to work. If we double click on our pasteboard and we select our group, we simply hit Shift Command G in order to ungroup. And I'll do that a few times. I always do that a few times because usually there are many groups nested, especially when we have a little illustration here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit it like 3 times, 4 times, many times you
Just
want.
for safety.
Just for safety, yes.
And I love that color.
It's like fresh minty. So we're gonna go ahead now that you see the single element are free to be selected. Make sure that you have your selection tool or press V on your keyboard and go ahead and select O, the ampersand, and the T for now. Press Command Copy and then click on the pasteboard and copy over here. As you see, it just goes in a place where I didn't really want it to go there. So let's hit Command Z to do it in a neater way. Let's go and select the elements that we need, O and T, and then press Option and click and drag in order to create a copy. I'm gonna then select the element, go on our Properties panel, we have Align, Align to Key Object, and if we click on the 3 dots here, we're gonna show all the other options. Let me show you here. So we're working with distributing spacing, Align to Key Object. And I'm just gonna give it like 1 pixel in between, and I'm gonna press horizontal distribute in space. And here we go. We already have our composition there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and click and drag in order to select multiple elements. I'm gonna press Command G to group this element. And here we go. We're just gonna drag it if we wanna drag the exact element. Otherwise, let's press Command Z to undo. Select Option in order to duplicate. So I'm using the direct selection tool, clicking on the object and dragging away to create a duplicate. I'm also gonna click Shift in order to constrain proportion and pull here from the corner to make it a bit larger. So something like that. I think it looks nice. To bring our illustration on top of our type, we select the illustration and then we press Command Shift and right bracket. As you can see, that toggles between the foreground and the background. So if you press Command Shift left bracket, you're sending your object to the background. If you press the right bracket, you're gonna go over on the foreground. Let's do a quick click mask here because I really want to go into Photoshop as soon as possible. I'm gonna go and select a rectangle tool and give a little background here to my image. Again, let's bring it to the back. So in this case will be Command Shift left bracket. And then I'm gonna go back into my shape tool and select the ellipse tool. You can bring the ellipse tool even by pressing L. So let's make sure that we first click away so the rectangle is not selected. Press L and Alt Shift in order to constrain proportion. Here we go. We have a circle over here. Now let's move the circle away for a second because I want to make sure to group all the elements. So I'm gonna click with our selection tool over the element and press Command G to group them. And I'm gonna go and overlay the circle on our grouped elements. Once the circle, the shape overlays on our background group, I'm gonna select both and press Command 7 to create a clipping mask. Isn't that amazing?
Beautiful.
So a clipping mask is a shape that controls the visibility of other shapes. So you'll be able to still edit the shapes that you have behind, they still exist. If you double click inside the clipping mask, everything is there. So I think that's super cool way and fast way to create shapes. So I think we're gonna move out of Illustrator. I hope this is clear. I don't know if you guys, any other question on the emblem?
Where did you come up with the color for this dark gray?
The color were from the mood board. I didn't go too much in depth today, but if we go on our libraries here, and see, we go on our rebranding, ONT. This is from our mood board. Actually, that's a very good question. I think is worth it to, this is the final mood board that I presented to the client. So you got all the colors here, and then that was the palette that I presented to the client, and he went with version C up here. So all the color that we're using, thank you so much for pointing it out, actually. So I went very fast on the mood board today because I want to jump into Photoshop as soon as possible. And actually, let's do that right now. So I don't know how much time we have. There is so much exciting stuff to do, guys, but I know also that there is a review.
Yes, we have a review coming up in a little bit less than 38 minutes. So if you haven't already, check the challenge tab for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. There's actually a really exciting one today. They're doing...
Oh, the t-shirts.
Yes, the vintage t-shirts with the brushes. So we should see some cool illustrations. So make sure you guys submit those quickly.
I look forward to see them.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of... t-shirt, vintage t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I love Kathleen work. So I was there. I was actually in the other room watching her stream, and I was like, yay, t-shirt.
Yes, illustration on any type of apparel always looks really cool. So excited for those.
And again, like, just to stress what we're talking about, branding is also, the t-shirt is also part of the branding.
Yes.
If you go back in the glossary, in the here in the resources, I'm just gonna jump real quick on my website resources.
I love this new website, by the way.
Thank you.
It's so nice.
Thank you so much. You can download the glossary here, so you can have a full understanding of what branding is, and again, how come that the t-shirt is part of the branding identity system. So let's actually jump into Photoshop now. I hope that I can show you all the cool stuff that I'm aiming to. If not, we got tomorrow, so we can pick up for whatever we leave. Another part of the brand identity system, as we say, the t-shirt is a physical object, but what are we gonna focus on today is a digital touch point. Digital touch point of a brand system, especially nowadays, are social media kits. And that's what I'm gonna be doing today. Let's see if I can, this new Mac is so sensitive. I didn't mean to open that. Let's go ahead and quit. What I wanted to bring up is not the mood board, but my initial introduction. I just wanted to have a little focus on what a social media kit is. Social media kit is a group of graphics that are going to be the first point of touch between the business and the customer. It's very important that there is consistency with the logo color, and there is also important that they are across the media, looking professional. And the reason that I'm saying that is because the sizes change all the time on social media, and that can get really messy. So I've created something for you guys, which is a cheat sheet for all the most relevant social media sizes of 2019.
Bless your heart.
Again, if you go on behance.net/printmysoul and you click on Adobe Live 2, or on my website, iamkladi.com/resources, you'll be able to download. And actually, let's do it, because we're gonna need it to jumpstart the work into Photoshop.
I'm gonna download
So I'm gonna download it from, let's see, I think it's this one over here. Social media site cheat sheet 2019, that's what we want. Let's press download. It starts a direct download, and here it is. You have all different social media. Of course, depending on the industry, you can use different social media. The most relevant are Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. And let's start by creating an Instagram story.
So when you shop this around to a client, is this a separate asset or a separate offering that you do, or do you include this with the logo design project?
So it depends on the kind of business that I'm working with. If I'm working with small family businesses, it's usually part of the package because they don't have anyone that deals with their marketing. If I'm working with bigger companies, they usually have a marketing team and a designer team that will just take my logo, my rasterized file, my Illustrator file, and then go ahead and create. They probably already have their kit. They already have their template. But for small businesses like this one, they rely on my help. And also, yesterday someone was mentioning about talking more about how to price your work.
Yeah.
The way that I price my work and the way that I've started is I charge by hour of work, but also when a client commissions more, like a package, more work at the same time, so the brief and the commission gets done all within the same contract, I really tweak the prices depending on it. So like, social media kit will be part of the branding.
Totally.
And of course, I'll give them a little discount to thank them for my trust, because of course they're trusting me to develop a bigger project from the very get-go.
That's great advice.
So let's look at our Instagram stories. The reason why I've done that, because I don't even remember, between my dyslexia and jet lag or whatever, I don't even remember the sizes by heart. So let's start with Instagram stories. If you go on your cheat sheet, you can see that the pixel are 1080 by 1920. I'm just gonna copy and jump into Photoshop and create new. And I'm gonna paste these new sizes over here. So 1080, and then the other one is 1920. There we go. And then I'm gonna title that Insta Story. Oops.
Insta stories. This is gonna be fun.
And what I'm gonna do is, first of all, check that we're working on RGB because it's a digital space. And I'm gonna use this little guy here, which is super amazing. If we click this button, we are saving a preset.
Presets save your life.
So Insta Story again. So next time that you're gonna have to create an Insta Story, you can save the preset, go on save, and you already have your Insta Story preset. Bear in mind, this is not a file. This is just your setting over here saved. So when you open a new file, all you gotta do is click on your preset, and your details were gonna be already, ready to use. Let's go and click Create to open our new file. I'm gonna go and double click and right click or control click on the layer in order to convert it to a smart object. Smart object is one of the most amazing feature of Photoshop. Allows you to have multiple layers. It's pretty much a box that contains one or more layer, and also allows you to work non-destructively. So whatever distortion, adjustment, or filters that we're gonna apply to our image is gonna be editable, allowing flexibility in time. And we can basically go back anytime and make a variation or completely get rid of it, and because the original image doesn't get affected, because we'll be working not destructively. So let's prepare our image. I actually, before coming here, literally 3 days before flying here to San Francisco, I directed a photo shoot. Our amazing photographer, Izzy Anderson in Manchester, has been super cool to be able to send some images over so we could work on it. This is an actual picture of the restaurant that we're working on. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this image into Photoshop because I want to make sure that the image is ready. This is an original photo directly from Izzy, and we really want to make sure that it looks delicious and enticing, so our Instagram story can be engaging. In order to do so, I'm gonna first of all create a smart object, because again, in this case, I want to work in a not destructive way. So whatever edits we're gonna make, we wanna make sure that we'll be able to go back and then change them. So I'm gonna press Control and click on my layer to convert to a smart object. Then what I wanna do is start applying some filter, going by the top menu here, filter, and click on Camera Raw filter. Camera Raw is one of my best friend into editing photos. The adjustment that you can achieve are pretty astonishing. What are we gonna start to work on by clicking on this little end? When you see all this menu here, you're working on global edits. So they're gonna affect the entire pixel of the image. And we already see that we can make the image a little bit warmer by going here on our temperature and moving it to the right. You can see how the yellow comes up. The image is definitely warmer. And then let's go back here. So we have a full view, a little bit of exposure. And what I'm gonna do, usually I kind of drag all my highlights to the very left.
Yep.
That allows you to bring the details out of the highlights. And I'm gonna do exactly the opposite with my shadow. So I'm gonna bring my shadow all to the right. As you see, all the details from the shadow come up. You can see the different.
Fun little trick that
Yes.
it's just the opposites for the
Yeah,
highlights
so we just
and
go.
shadows.
Yeah, we want to bring details. Another
Beautiful.
great way to bring details, and this is, I think this is, I don't know if you knew about it. I learned about it a few days ago. This is
The texture.
the texture.
It's so fun.
So amazing. So the texture brings so many details in. Look at that, guys.
You
Look
can
at that.
even see like
So crisp.
the bubbles in the glass.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
Super crisp.
Oh, makes
really nice
makes
picture.
me shake. I love these.
So fun. And
Little
again,
small details.
we're just moving sliders. You know, we're not putting that much effort, and we're achieving super professional output result. Something else that I probably will do is bump up the clarity, which is gonna affect the mid-tones, the details in the mid-tones. Again, we're really looking to get a very crisp, delicious effect. We want our cocktail to pop out in the photo, and that's why I'm gonna affect the vibrancy.
Look what it did to that glass with the straws in it.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
brought some light in there.
If we click on here, this bottom over here, it toggles between before and after. So if we just click on it, you see that was our starting point. What we did was not even 2 minutes, and we're already here.
Miracles.
So that's already a great change. I'm also gonna go and bump up the vibrancy. The vibrancy, I believe, is a very smart way to increase saturation because protect pixels. So the difference between vibrancy and saturation here is that vibrancy increases saturation, but protecting already high saturated pixels. So if there is a pixel that is already, crazy in saturation, it just keeps it down and makes sure that it doesn't ruin the overall effect of our photos. And also it's great for protecting skin tones. If we use saturation, that's going to affect the overall picture.
Yes.
See how, yellow, it becomes almost acid, and we really do not want that. So we're going to stick to our smart way of working by using vibrancy. There are other occasions in which saturation is very useful, but it's not this case now because we want to really focus on the drink and bring up only the pixels that are not saturated yet. So I think that's a good starting point for our global edits. And I just want to go a little bit more deep in showing you what local edits are. Local edits are this other option that we find here on this toolbar. The one that we're going to be using is the graduated. What I'm looking to achieve is to achieve a bit of blurriness here, because if we're creating an Instagram story, we really want to have some space where we can place our text,
Right.
a little bit of contrast in between. So we really need a negative space where to place our text. So let's go ahead and click on our graduated filter. Now, one very important step to do before you work on your filter here is to go ahead and click on our flyout menu and press reset local correction settings. Is this guy over here. The reason why we have to do so is because all these sliders are sticky. That means that whatever settings you were using before in your previous picture, they will be applied. So we don't want that. We want to work from scratch. So make sure that you go ahead and reset. Now we're ready to create our selection. I need a vertical selection, and I'm gonna apply some blurry adjustment. Press Shift in order to constrain proportion. I think something like that will be a good selection. The green point is where the graduation starts, and these red dots is where the adjustment ends. So we're gonna press on our mask to see how the adjustment will be applied. Again, as you can see, the green one will affect where the graduation starts, and bring it down to here. I think that's maybe a little bit lower. Let's Command and do if you do something crazy like I did. And let's go ahead and hide our mask to actually see the effect happening. So what I'm gonna do in this case, I'm gonna bring down the texture because I do not want the details. I'm gonna go quite bold here. And I'm gonna do the same for the clarity. And we're gonna tone down the sharpness. As you can see now, it's gone very, very, very blurry.
Yep.
Almost plasticky blurry. We're gonna fix it in a second. once we're happy with our result, there is something else that we can have a look at. I can see that my, if you bring it a little bit more down, so it looks a bit nicer, but at the same time, I don't want my straw to be affected. So in order to edit part of our selection of where the adjustment is going to be placed, I'm going to click on brush, make sure that our brush is set of minus in order to erase, and clicking the left bracket, I'm going to make the brush stroke smaller, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the glass from the blurriness because we really want our glass to pop out. Again, guys, I'm working very fast here. If you want to achieve better result, I advise always to zoom in about 100% and really work those details. So in this case, I will have to go back and maybe add a little bit over here. So we're gonna just leave it like that for now, but when you're working, you know, for your final client, really make sure that you refine it more. Now we're gonna go back in our, let's untick the mask in order to see the effect. And this other tick overlay, just simply take away the selection, which is now not active. If you wanna go back and have a look at how the picture looks like. Let's go back in our global setting by pressing the N tool. As you can see, the text space here is different. And what I like to do after I achieved such a blurriness, it looks almost like I say plasticky. So we really want to bring a little bit of photorealism into it. And I do that by adding some grain. You can do that by going into FX. Before adding any grain, I like to work at 100% or maybe even a little more. In order to see what the grain, what the actual effect of the grain will be like, and then start to add a little bit of grain. As you can see, can get very, very busy, the noise. So I'll just probably keep something like 10.
That looks good.
It's probably a little bit less here. So that's why it's good to work, on 100%. So even more, so you can
see everything.
Yes, you can check what you're doing, and then let's go back on our full view, and let's have a look at before and after here. Let me just go back on basics because otherwise it just shows me the grain, and I think we've done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add something real quick also to make that drink really pop out, which is an HSL adjustment. This guy over here, if we click, we have hue, saturation, and luminance. Real quick, if you guys don't know, hue is the actual color that we're gonna select. So changing the hue, you're actually changing the color values. Changing saturation, you change the intensity of the color, but not the color. And luminance is the brilliance, the brightness. So in this case, we really wanna work on this orange to make it pop. So check this out.
Ooh.
And we're gonna do the same with the luminance, make it nice and shiny. We really want this little mint to look fresh. Same the lime. So the color that I'm really interested in here are the yellow and the greens. Maybe the yellow picks up too much on the background. I think if we push the green and the orange, it's already looking like a cocktail on the Mediterranean Sea. So once we are happy with this result, we can either press OK, or let's see if we have time, 20 minutes. Yes, we can definitely go and add some more changes. I really want to communicate with our asset the mood that we were trying to establish with our mood boards. So we are on holiday in the Mediterranean, having this, on the coast, so it's nice and bright outside.
Sounds so nice right now.
So what I really should go for a holiday after that.
I know.
Very, very tempting.
Getting really invested in this project.
Also, I'm from the Mediterranean Sea, so I'm really
I'm just
enjoying.
gonna come back home with you.
Yes, let's go and book a flight afterwards. So let's go and back and add a bit of sunshine. We're gonna work on local edits as well. And instead of using the graduated filter, we're gonna use the radial filter, which is this guy over here. Let's have a zoom.
Egg-looking thing.
Yes. So let's click on the radial filter, and again, make sure to reset your
That's very important.
setting here.
So would you say before you do any global edit, you need to reset every single time so it doesn't affect it?
Yes. Global and local. adjustments needs a resetting. It's just that these guys over here are sticky, which is super useful if you're working on multiple pictures which require the same adjustment because they have the same light. So you pretty much need to work. It becomes very easy to make adjustment on a series of photos. But if you want to use different and start from scratch, different settings on the slider, you must reset in order to start from scratch. And that's what we want for this picture. So I'm gonna go ahead and make our selection over here, bring a bit of sunshine coming out. So let's have a look how the mask is getting applied. Make sure that you play with the feather in order to not have a too sharp effect, but just to like ease in the adjustment. And what I'm gonna bring here is a bit of like yellow, warm temperature, again, as if the sun is coming from outside. Let's hide the mask by clicking here in order to see what's happening. I'm gonna bring the saturation. Can you see how the sun is coming from the window?
Ooh, it looks like 100 degrees outside.
Yes, it's getting hot. There we go. I think I'm quite happy with this selection. What I can do is create another radial selection and use pretty much the same effect for the cocktail. So as you can see, this is the center of our radial filter, and you can move it around and create copies, and you can have multiple filters active at the same time. And in order to activate it, you just click on this little dot here. So we created one for the glass, and I'm gonna go ahead and create another one for this glass, just because we really want to make those guys pop. And we're gonna go ahead and make another one.
I like how it brought up the wood in the ceiling where the sun is.
Oh yeah,
it's really nice.
That's actually one of my favorite feature of the restaurant. For this drink, we just wanna bring a little bit of magenta instead of yellow. So we're just gonna play with
this cranberry mojito. It looks like. It's one of my favorites.
So here we go. I think I'm quite happy with the result now. Let's go back into our global edits and make sure that you click on basics, which again is this little tab here, in order to preview the before and after. We use this little button at the here we
transformation.
Yeah, I think we've done quite a good job, isn't it?
Love it.
He's gonna make everyone thirsty on Instagram. So I'm just gonna go ahead and press OK. And as you can see, because we're working with a container, with a smart object, and in a not destructive way, the filters are applied on the image, but we can get rid of them anytime we wish. And if there is something that you're not happy with, you can double click on the filter and go back and adjust it. Now guys, there is, I've seen many times people going back into filter and into camera raw. You need to be very careful with that, because that is gonna add another layer of adjustment. If you want to edit the adjustment that you are working on, you must double click on the layer. And here we go. You can go and edit at any time. That's the beauty and the flexibility of working with a smart object. Now that the image is ready, I'm just gonna go ahead and press Command S to save. I'm gonna save it as a JPEG, accept the compression, and press OK. Yes, we're happy with a big image. We really want to work with high quality asset here. And let's click back on our Instagram story. Now we created a layer, which is also a smart object. So in order to insert an image into this container, we're going to go ahead and double click onto our preview here. And as you can see, the layer came, another file came out. This is the actual container. So that's where we're going to have to place our image. So we can go into File, Place. There are two ways of placing images. One is placed embedded and one is placed linked. The difference is that if you place link, you are referencing to an external images, and that's very useful if you have to keep making edits on your image. So it's going to be linked and reference to the file, but also as the downside that you always have to have both files on your machine. Well, if you place embed, the image is gonna become part of your file. So you don't need to have two files. It is it's pretty much part of your new instance. So let's go and see where we placed our photo. So we are on the social media kit, photo shoot, edited photo. Here we go. And let's click place in order to place it. Now I'm gonna transform it in order to fill in the page. If you guys don't see here, I'm gonna zoom in. This little pointer, this used to be a default into Photoshop. With CC 2019, now the default is not to have this reference point for your transformation. If you want to bring it in because you're a big fan of it, like I am, you just let's press return first in order to place the image. But let's go on our preferences and tools. And here we go. Is this little tick box here? It says show reference point when using transform. You want to make sure that you tick that if you want to make your reference point default, like I do. Since we are on the preferences, I think it's worth mentioning one other update on general, which is affecting the free transform. As you guys know, a new feature of Photoshop is to be able to resize without having to hold the shift key. This has been quite a big change in terms of habits for Photoshop user. If you are really happy to stay with the old setting, you can go into your general preferences and tick this use legacy free transform. If you click it, you're gonna have to go back and press shift in order to constrain proportion when you transform. I'm actually getting used to the new way of Photoshop work, so I'm gonna keep mine unticked.
You and Tim are twins today because you referenced that at the exact same time.
Hi, Tim. I didn't even say hello. How rude am I?
I know. Sorry, Tim. Hi.
Sorry, Tim. We're just so busy doing these geek things in Photoshop and making our workflow so much smarter.
Wakar had a question. He was wondering, how do you read the client brain? So how do you get all of the information and just put to life what they're trying to visualize or communicate to you? Very
good question.
It's a hard skill.
I read with my ears. I listen. I ask a lot of questions. That's a very first step. Let's see if tomorrow I can work a little magic and share with you one of my top secret assets. I'm probably gonna make available only for tomorrow for you guys of the stream, because it's a very core part of my business, so I don't really wanna leave it hanging out there for too long. But for those who take part of the live tomorrow, I'm going to share what I call a brand platform. It's a series of questions, it's a questionnaire that I bring to my meetings or I run throughout Skype meetings in order to ask the right question to the client, to make sure that when I'm back in my studio, I've got all the answers that I need to start. So that's a very good question.
Make sure you guys come back tomorrow for even more
I'm gonna
treats.
have to take some notes to make sure that I make it happen.
That's genius.
Now we got only 10 minutes to go, so we really want to make this story happen. Let's make sure that we select our smart object here, and we have to resize it. So I'm gonna press Command T to go in our transformation. And again, I do not need to hold the shift key because I'm not using legacy. I'm just gonna use Option to make sure that the center is there, and then zoom out by, I pinch on my trackpad, but you can use the zoom over here, or you can select Command minus to zoom out your screen. And again, I'm gonna hold my Option key in order to make my transformation stick to the center. So I'm gonna hit return when I'm happy with the distribution of my image, and then I'm gonna close this file because we are in the container. So I'm gonna press Command W to close, and of course I'm gonna save the changes. Once you save, as you can see, it goes right back into our Instagram template. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna add a text layer. You do so by going on your toolbar over here and press T, or you can simply press T on your keyboard. We're gonna add a little frame, and just gonna write something like join our just gonna call it like happy hour. We're just gonna announce that there is a happy hour starting into the restaurant. As you can see, the text is pretty much invisible. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna double click to make a selection and then go here and just drag right in order to make it bigger. Also, as you can see here, there is a little bit of a issue. We need the space. And look what happened. Our text leading is not enough to ensure readability. So I'm just gonna select the text, go into property and go into our character panel here. And we make sure that we increase this value in order to bring some space. So again, this is it's called leading. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. Probably it's leading.
No, I think it is leading. I call it leading.
I have a Kladi vocabulary as well. You can find on my website a Kladi glossary with all the made-up words that I create.
Everything you need is here.
So, no, I'm just joking. That was just a little joke of, I made up a lot of words. I speak so many different languages that I create my own vocabulary.
I think we need a cheat sheet to that.
So we're gonna go ahead here, and again, with Photoshop CC 2019, we have Adobe font integration right into our Photoshop app, which is absolutely amazing, huge time saver. So we can go ahead and add new font from the type kit, or simply use one of these fonts over here. This is quite a cool font, but I'm not happy having everything caps. Yes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change this into happy hour. Bring it in one line. Maybe give it a double space here. And I really wanna use a color referencing from our logo. So I'm just gonna jump back in Illustrator and use our emblem. So I'm just gonna click with the selection tool, drag, and press Command C to copy, go back into Photoshop and press Command V to paste. So make sure that no layer is selected, otherwise the paste doesn't work, like it just happened to me. So make sure that you click on the outside the artboard and press Command V to paste. It's gonna ask you to place in a smart object. I will definitely do so because that will allow us to make any changes back. And I'm gonna place this guy over here where we have a bit of contrast and is readable. Now, once we press return, you can see that we have a little cloud here. This is an artwork smart object.
Smart object.
Yes, I guess that's the best definition. So if you double click on this vector, vector is just written here, I should just sort of read it. Vector smart object, no artwork. So vector smart object. This allows you to, again, make whatever elements is in the container editable. So we're gonna double click and look what happened. It just opened a vector file, and if we want, we can just go and select another color from our palette that we created from our mood board, which is in our CC library throughout the InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop environment. Again, we are just saving times at every step.
Drag it, drop it in.
Yeah, and if I press Command S and save this file, and we go back in Photoshop, is automatically updated. That's absolutely amazing. So I want to go back to the color that we created, or we can even work with this one. The most important thing is that the assets that are part of the story are consistent. So I'm just going to select this text and press our color over here and go ahead and with the eyedropper pick the same color that is on the logo. This one is not looking very readable, so probably what I'm going to do is double click in my smart object, press Command Z to go back to the color. We'll probably achieve a better contrast with this green. Press save. Again, we're working with smart objects, so everything is editable. There is no distraction of the image that we're using. Click on your happy hour, double click on the text to select it. Again, click on your swatch, and I think this green is much more readable. We can work with that much better. So I like to create a smart object out of our text. We can do that by press Ctrl and click on our layer and convert it to a smart object, and then press Command T to transform and make this guy much bigger. Can place it even in the middle. So let's go and zoom out. I do that by pressing Command Z, or you can also increase and decrease the zooming from the bottom. Here we go, the bottom left here. We have a slider. All you have to do is drag right, or you can just input the value manually in order to zoom in and zoom out. So here we go. This is a very simple story, but the most important thing is that you're gonna be able to use this template over and over again. What I'm gonna do is save it for our use into our phone. Probably if I had more time over here, I will add some more effects. Like I will probably add some drop shadow to make it pop a little bit more. But we're gonna have a look in depth our effect tomorrow. What I'm gonna do here is to make sure that we save the correct format for a digital file, since we're gonna go ahead and transfer into our mobile. In order to do that, I'm gonna press File, Export, and Save for Web Legacy. This is another update. Before, this used to be under Save As. You can also use the shortcut Shift Option Command S to access the dialog box for saving for digital and for web. I'm gonna go and select JPEG. I'm quite happy with the size of the image, so I don't need to scale it. Otherwise, making sure that constraint proportion is clicked on. So this is when unlinked, this is when it is unlinked, and this is when it's linked. See if we can zoom to have a better view. In this case, it's unlinked. You want to make sure that it stays linked in order to constrain proportion. And you can change the sizes over here, or you can simply scale the file. If the file is too big, you can simply scale it here. In this case, I'm happy about the size. The image is looking good, and we only have less than 300K, so it's very, very good. And I'm gonna press save and then create our Instagram story and place it in our desktop over here. So here we go. This is ready to be moved into our phone. I think we got less than 2 minutes. We can probably work fast. Let's see if my phone can get connected and we can see
how to... You can see it on the mobile.
Let's see. This is working.
Make sure you guys send your work. We have less than 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay, so let's see if we can do that.
Look at how cute your screensaver looks.
That's part of my illustration. Oh, we have a lot of airdrops. I wanted to airdrop it on my mobile, but I think it's not picking it up.
Oh.
Let's see. I really want to use that. I can use one that I saved before, but I really wanted to make sure that you guys use the one that we saved. I think we're gonna leave this for tomorrow. We have 50 seconds to do so. We're gonna show you. Yes, we need to. I will probably need to email the settings for me, but for now we already saved our output, ready to be shared in our stories. And again, remember, we also have created a template. In fact, if we want to create another stories, all we have to do is double click on our smart object, and we can just go ahead and place another image. So for example, let's go in our folder here and place another image to see how easy it is to, let's use this lovely picture here. This is the beautiful owner of the restaurant, and press OK and save.
Gorgeous.
And as you see, we have our background updated because we were working with a smart object. I think that's it for today. We're gonna go ahead and get some feedback, and tomorrow we're gonna look on how to place this output on your mobile and share it using Instagram.
All right, guys, we are excited to see what you came up with. Oh, we have a lot. Let's start with
oh my God, so exciting.
West. peace and love and happiness.
So I think you really went into the theme of vintage.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I love the type on the circle, and also that is a liquify effect
in here.
Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah, so that really is gonna make the text pop out. It almost looks like a record.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it a record? Because it looks like a record.
Yes, I want your feedback as well, because we have a talented musician sitting next to me.
I have a record tattoo on my arm, so you've already stolen my heart.
Oh, and there are hearts there as well.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, is that
That's so
record?
sweet.
I love that.
Yeah, so I'll probably give some outline to those arts, because it took me a moment to see that they were there.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, the black gives a really good contrast. So I think it looks amazing. I love the peace and love rainbow.
Yes.
I would just probably make sure that there is some outline around those art to make sure that, you know, you can share the love straight away. You want to make the love hearts visible. So yeah,
especially
it's looking
this
cool.
one in the middle. But
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that.
But it's beautiful and I love it.
Yeah, so let's bring in some outline.
Oh my gosh, did some new ones just come out of nowhere?
Wow.
Let's go back down.
So we have the t-shirt, and we also have a mock-up, and we have a duotone going on.
Look at this.
Amazing work. I
love that
absolutely
sketch.
love the illustration. I love the grain on the photo. I'm a big fan of adding grain. I think it gives you the idea of, you know, having a real film photos.
Yes,
real
I love
camera.
that. I even
Very
love
well
the,
done.
The detail of how the hair just kind of like blends in with the shirt, but you can still see the detail of the bangs.
Oh yeah, that's a very clever way of using a negative space. So the illustration, and also is very efficient in printing the t-shirt as well.
Yes.
Because you only have going to be using one color. So in this case, only having white, you're going to be able to have multiple details by using the color of the t-shirt. Very well done. It was done this one.
Yeah. I wonder
Very
if
well done.
It would be really cool if the shirt was navy and not like.
Sorry, we got a cool duotone effect on it, so it can work in many different colors. Let's see what's happening there.
Chiffon.
Oh, that's so cool.
Camp Photoshop daily try. I love this like camp theme.
Yeah, I love the fact that it brings in the end drawing. I think what Kaylee was doing is again doing that vintage effect, and I think having the lines, you know, it probably looks like it went straight from your sketch. Looks like you probably used Capture. I think possibly it's been used by Capture. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know. But it's a very cool result because it looks like literally from your sketchbook into a t-shirt. It looks really cool.
I like that. Okay, now we're gonna go back up. This Camp Photoshop theme is really cool. So, oh my gosh,
this is a screenshot of Kaylee.
She's right there.
So that's so fun. This is actually like a really cool way. So this is probably a capture snap screenshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can see a little bit of you know, the pixelation
UI.
and the reflection. So probably what you've done, you created, you captured an asset with the app through the screen. And you give, like, it almost look like it's linotype, like it's almost like stamped. Really, really cool. Definitely comes out the vintagey effect.
Oh, I love the splat.
Yeah, I'll probably give a little look at the text, just because there is quite a digital contrast. So you have a very strong and strongly shaped typeface. I will probably try to ease it in. Maybe have a try with something that is a little bit more curvy and smooth.
Yeah.
And again, or I'll give it a drop shadow just to lift it. I was struggling to see the T, or probably what's there. I think the layer of the font is sitting under the black layer. Looks like.
Yeah.
Because we got some of the texture on the T.
Yeah, from the side of the screen.
Yeah. So I will probably just bring the text, especially if it's relevant information for legibility. I would just probably bring the layer with the text above. Otherwise, it's looking really cool.
It's really cool.
I'm sure Kathleen is gonna love it.
We should send that to her. Okay, Photoshop Camp.
Aww.
I love how they use the
grungy.
splatter brush to make these dirt marks.
So grungy.
Yeah.
And again, I absolutely love the feeling of hand drawn. So you have the hand-drawn vibes straight on the t-shirt, again from Sketchpad. It looks like you basically drawn on your t-shirt,
Yeah.
which is so cool. Really, really nice. I love the contrast of having the negative space on top
Yep.
and the splatter underneath.
Yeah.
So that gives you,
And
you know,
a
there
little
is
on
no
the sleeves.
competition. You can actually read and then enjoy the texture going on. Very well done, guys.
I know. You guys have great ideas.
And I love the way they've done so many like cool mock-ups.
I know.
Is that you?
I know. Like, this has to be your photo. Like, I don't think this is from stock.
Super, super cool.
That's so
There is any
cool.
chance to zoom in a little bit on?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There you go. And so it's not too pixelated.
It's really cool. I think that's
Yeah.
proper following the theme that Kathleen was doing.
Yeah.
The only advice here that I will have is to make the overall image a little bit smaller in order to be centered, because otherwise it's gonna end up going under your armpit and you're not
Yeah,
gonna be able to
Photoshop will
appreciate.
be.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to appreciate your artwork. So again, like, you know, if you just take my t-shirt as reference for a second, you just wanna make sure that, you know, that inside the shoulder, just outside your neck, this is the
Right.
sort of shape. So again, beautiful artwork. I love the simplicity of having one color there, very efficient for printing.
looks
But
like-
let's make it a little bit smaller in order to have it centered into our
You
t-shirt.
don't want it to come off as amp photo
Yes, put a shh, put a shh.
It looks like there's a cool like little gradient effect.
But
there
I love the
too,
mock-up.
but
Thumbs
it's awesome.
up. Let us know if that's you. I think it was really cool. Really cool picture on
Yeah.
the bridge as well. Oh my God, guys, you're
Photoshop,
done
so
such an amazing.
cute. This looks like at a surf shop in like Southern California.
Yeah,
Like, I love
absolutely
it.
cool. I love the way that you have created the sun, the simplicity of that line. Again, it looks like as if it's letterpress.
Yeah.
So like letterpress and then, you know, screen printed. So look, there is so much depth using these textures. Well done, guys. And only 2 colors, you know, that's super cool. The simplicity of using restricted palettes really allows you to have a better look at the overall image and to, you know, be able to focus more without becoming distracting. Very well done. I love that t-shirt hanging on the wall.
Yep.
That's, you know, that can, you know, if someone had a shop online, you can just go ahead and use this mock-up that you created in order to promote and sell the product. So very well done. You can as well use this image in your Instagram stories. When you've created your
Yes.
template and you created your smart object, all you gotta do is to put this picture into your smart object, save it, and change the text maybe into the price or the name of the shop.
Yeah.
So very well
like
done,
one of the
guys.
corners.
Really well done on the mock-ups.
I love this. Oh, I was like, what happened? That's because I zoomed in so fast. Ooh, I already love the colors on this.
Beautiful, beautiful,
love
so iconic. So we are talking about camping just by introducing this tree shape, which you can also recall mountain, very conceptual. I love conceptual work.
So do I.
So you have a feather, so you have a tree,
Tree,
you have a
that's what I
mountain,
thought,
you
yeah.
have the sun underneath, which is also a backdrop, but then you have the shining elements.
Yeah, or you
Absolutely
have some
love
sun
that.
rays that are.
Yeah, and again, like this
capturing
is the sort of size that I was talking about. Is if you see, it just sits within the shoulder, just outside the neck. I would say like the here, and I think that's a perfect size. Very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done, guys.
I love this color on the beige cream version of
Yeah.
the t-shirt. I think
Totally
those
recalls like
colors.
nature and again the
Yeah.
vintage theme that Caitlin was aiming for.
Yeah, I love this. You
Very
guys-
well done. Oh, I think
So
Shatila said that it is a record. So when we were wondering
Yes.
before, yes.
I love it. We should make those into stickers too. I like to just make everything into any good design can live as a sticker.
Oh wow, we have a beautiful mock-up
Family
here as well.
reunion.
Family reunion. Definitely the vintage theme is coming through with the having the little, I think it's marine photos and then a little bit of a 50 dress.
Oh, yeah, I didn't
Isn't
even
it?
see that.
We have like a typical headshots
Yeah.
that were up in the 20s. So definitely that, you know, using these sort of references in your image, you don't have to say, you know, that's a vintage t-shirt. You just have to use visual references that recall the theme that you're aiming to. Like here, the dress is definitely like a 50 cut with the little shoulders and then the
And
length.
I think it's perfect for family reunion because it's all about that like nostalgic reflecting on like your family
Absolutely.
and those who came before you. So this is like very appropriately themed.
Absolutely. Very well done, guys. Such a pleasure to review when the work are so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, so we have another version of the one we just saw.
Oh, wow.
And this one has some
Really cool.
text and then
Really cool.
design dusk till dawn.
So can we zoom in a little bit more,
Let's
please?
see. Oh, it's not letting me.
Okay,
That's
so
weird.
what I will say here, I love the way that you have used the previous image as almost as an emblem. I will definitely give us some breathing space. I think everything is too crushed on top of each other. Yeah, condensed. I will definitely allow some breathing space. Maybe move the emblem on other sides. Maybe, you know, just have it on the left and then have the text centered. Try to reproportion. The elements are great.
Yes.
I will have a look at the green again for visibility and contrast because I think we lose a little bit of visibility in the middle. Looks like that there is a gradient going through. There is a comment saying that legibility is bad. It's not too bad overall, but I will definitely make some adjustment in order to improve it, to make an improvement. I think the color, actually, I love the water green and the red is a combination that I use very often. It's one of my favorite color combination. So it works, but we really need to make it pop a little bit more because it's getting lost in the yellow. So again, try to resize it. If you want to have another go, I'm gonna hang on Discord for a while or maybe later on in the afternoon. So if you tag me either at Mentor or at Kladi Printmysoul, I'll be very happy to review a second version, an edited version. It's looking good, but again, needs a little bit of restructuring in terms of breathing space between element, resizing, and giving contrast to the green.
I did like this font type that you chose. This is a really cool font.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there. Oh, all zoomed in. Oh, I was like, somebody redesigned the Daily Creative Challenge. Oh, goodness.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, this reminds me of back in the day when you used to do the tie-dye.
Yes, so
Oh,
that's a bit of a dirt inspired, but it definitely gives you the idea of what a camp is, because you go there and get dirty. You don't go there and stay pretty. You go to a camp, you go to explore. It doesn't matter how dirty you get. That's the fun of it. So I think it overall communicates the idea that you've been busy during your camp.
That's a great way to put it.
It will be great to see some typeface on it. Also, if you need, it looks like you have a little issue with the mockup there. If you need to have some mockup to use, you can go on Adobe Stock and use one of the previews in order to work on Photoshop. And if you're happy with it, you can directly license it. If you're not happy with it, you can keep it as a preview. But I strongly recommend to go and select a mockup that doesn't have all these
the
ugly watermarks on it.
And there's some free ones too. There's a lot of great free t-shirt assets on Adobe Stock. So don't hesitate to go on there and find some things that'll work for you. But I think overall I like that it just kind of gives that perception of like we're at camp and it doesn't really matter like what we're wearing because we're here to like get our hands dirty and to work. And
it definitely looks like whoever's won the t-shirt a lot of fun. And I think also that it's quite funny that they like used a t-shirt with such texture but it's hanging as well. So yeah, very fun, very cool.
Good job. Okay, here we go. Another great where is all this photography coming from?
Oh, we have Valdir here saying that there is a reference image that Sam posted on the feedback. So yeah, so if you are in need of using a reference image, I think thank you so much for pointing that out. I think that can be very useful. I love the community. So I just wanted to say, guys, I've been here in March and it's been a few months. And I built such a great relationship with the majority of you guys in the chat. A few weeks ago, I had a little bit of a low personal moment, and I had people from the chat writing on my Instagram and writing such heartwarming messages. Guys, like, you know, that's the power of the Adobe community. That's a real community. You build relationship besides helping each other, like, you know, pointing out reference images like Valda here was doing now, is helping other people that are in the chat, but also the support and the love that you guys have shared with me after so many months. I just wanted to take a second to thank you, because it's a very, very great community. All the love. Oh, thank you, team. So let's have a look at this other cool mock-up. This is looking very fun. What I think that works great here is that we got right on target in terms of demographic. So we got the right age of people that go to camp. The use of the right demographic definitely helps in order to make a better understanding of the product. So very well done.
Good thing to
thumbs
keep in
up
mind.
for that. Yes, thumbs up for that. In terms of the image, we can see that you followed Kathleen references. We have the tree, we have the sun. It's this warm fun experience. And I really like the fact that you're using one color. Again, keep it simple, very efficient in terms of printing cost. You will only need one color to screen print, so one screen only. Very well done. I love also the kind of light cyan and the
in the back.
deep red.
Yeah.
Very well done.
I like I don't know if this photo was presented this way with the model itself and the background, but everything is very relevant to the prompt.
Oh yeah, you got a little bit like the water, the dirt, the nature there, the age. Very well done, guys. I'm very impressed about the work that you're.
And if this is like some compositing work, great job.
Oh yeah. Let's have a look.
Sorry, don't want to message you guys dashes. Ooh, this is
wow, those are looking pretty.
Wow, look at the detail.
Someone's got some serious illustration skills going on.
And they gave us 2 options.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So it's almost like a Polaroid of an illustration.
Yeah.
Very grungy Polaroid. It's very nice. So it gives you the idea of the way that you printed the t-shirt, almost as if you roughly just pasted the cloth into the ink. I love that sort of texture.
Looks
very
like
well
it went
done.
through multiple times.
Yeah,
the print.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I like everything because it's a static illustration, but at the same time gives you a feeling of movement. Like, I love printing for this reason. You can use printing techniques in order to communicate something that is dynamic, like these mock-ups does. And also, hats off for the illustration. It looks absolutely beautiful.
I'm like catching a face, and then I'm catching a heart. Do you see
that?
that?
At the beginning, I thought it was a heart because of the overall shape. Who's there? Is that Jonathan worked? Very well done. Very beautiful.
Very well.
I love the way that it's sketched out. Did you bring it in the asset with capture? Can you let us know? What did you do?
Yeah.
Did you draw it on an iPad? Be really nice to see how that beautiful illustration was created. If you let us know, we'll love to learn more.
And even if the frame, like that looks like a Polaroid almost, it wasn't intentional. I like the fact that this one, it doesn't show as much like the open space part versus this one. It just makes it seem like every print is unique.
Yeah.
And also adds
Which
to
one
that.
is your favorite between the two?
Oh, it's hard. I love this color, but I think I really like the fact that it just outlines a little bit of the frame and it doesn't have the entire one like this one.
Yeah. I think is my favorite as well.
Yeah.
The green one overall, because there is such a beautiful contrast that you can really appreciate.
Yes.
The illustration, which I think is really worth to grab someone's attention. Well, for the
Drawn on paper, he said.
drawn on paper, and then what did you
Yes.
do? Did you use capture? We
Let
want
us
to know.
I know, we want to know all your tricks.
It's beautiful, by the way. Very well done.
Oh,
Ooh,
this is
that's-
really vintage. Okay.
That's really cool. So that's that's fantastic. I'm really enjoying your work, guys. You can see on how many different aspects you can bring in between the mock-ups. So in this case, we have the vintage communicated by the illustration style and the texture and the mock-up.
Yeah.
So we have definitely a very nice looking vintage model with some, vintage clothing. Even the texture of the pens there recalls the texture that you created
a little
on
distortion in the font.
Yeah.
You can see some parts of it fading. That really adds to that vintage feel.
Yeah, I would probably watch in terms of centering the image there. Probably just want to
bring it down. Just
bring it down a little bit, and also bring it into the model left shoulder, so our right. I will definitely just push it a little bit again, just to make sure that when you're looking in front, you have the entire picture. Oh, we have a reply from Jonathan here. Bear with us if we don't read it straight away, because there is a bit of delay. But what he says is that
pick with capture, added frame in Photoshop. Yes.
well done. That's the way we like it. So I made his illustration in drawing and then capture it and then add it in Photoshop. Isn't the workflow amazing when you streamline it like that?
It's so nice.
Super seamless.
Okay.
Well
do we
done.
have any more?
Let's see if there is any last minute.
Oh no.
Looks like there are 4 new messages.
Oh, you guys, so exciting.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh,
Yes, we
okay,
do.
wait. We saw this one.
Yes.
Let's go to this one. Develop from the negatives.
That's cool. So
Like
we
the
definitely,
copy.
Yes, we definitely have using the negatives also in terms of negative space, because again we're using white and probably like a different shade of white or a light gray.
Oh yeah, this.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I'm a big Illustrator fan, and I love the vector drawings here. I would probably bring a little bit of texture, and maybe will be really cool to keep one single color, but use some pattern in order to bring different shades.
Yeah, that would be really
So
cool.
that'll be really cool. We'll see if tomorrow I can show you some work, but very well done. Again, in terms of t-shirt printing, I will always advise to start with one color just to make it efficient. And of course, white on black is standard. Looks great.
Looks good on everyone.
Very well done.
Okay. Oh my goodness, so many. Oh, look at this one.
Someone is ready for camp. I don't know if he's very determined or
I don't know either.
I don't know if he's telling me that I need to go to camp.
He's like hypnotizing you. He's like, you need to go to camp.
Yes. So this image is very eye-catching, very strong.
Yes.
I love that there is like a gradient.
In the eyes. Let me see if I can zoom in even more. No, I can't.
I think there is a gradient going on because if you see the artwork, it looks like it's masking a gradient as well.
Yeah.
So we have the illustration, and then there is a gradient behind. It's looking very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it followed beautifully the instruction that Kathleen was sharing this morning. Very well done. It looks nice. Even the size. Again, I will watch a little bit into center it a little bit. Maybe if you are in Photoshop, you want to drag down a guide mark, just a ruler to make sure then the C and the P line on the same line, so you can perhaps transform by rotating the P a little bit so it looks a little bit more centered. Otherwise, you're gonna have to tilt your head a little bit to read it. And I'm a big fan of go big or don't do it. So if you want to make it tilted, then tilt it a lot and then increase the tilting, and that's absolutely cool. But if you do not want to make it tilted, just make sure that the first letter and the last letter are aligned, and you can do that with the use of a ruler. That if you bring down a ruler in Photoshop, and then you can transform and rotate left and right. I think it's always an advice that I give to students as well. If you really want to do something, just do it. There is no point of doing it a little bit, because it just communicates a bit of uncertainty. So if you want to make it tilted,
go for it.
Go for it. We're happy to move our head and read it.
I think I saw.
Oh,
okay, so they redid
well
this
done.
one. Oh, I love the positioning of the new
Yes,
one.
yes, now we're talking.
Oh, I love that.
Very well done. So first of all, very well done on the effort, on wanting to go back and edit, and on the speed, because we were just like
Yes.
2 minutes ago.
So quick.
Very well done. If I can be very picky, and I'm just saying that because you are achieved to greatness. I love the color palette. It looks beautiful. The conceptual artwork is beautiful. I will ever try and resize the emblem, the image, and make sure that the top and the bottom of the circle fall in within the top and the bottom of your type lock. You can do that by using the ruler on Photoshop. If your ruler are not active, you press the shortcut Command R on your keyboard, and they will bring the ruler. And what you do, you just simply drags from the very top, and you're gonna zoom in and put a ruler on top of the your type lock, one on the top, one on the bottom. And then when you resize your circle, you make sure that encloses. It just, again, when I was talking about my font, my Gestalt font that works on proximity. Our brain perceives information much faster when they are in blocks. So that's why, like your type lock. Your type lock works fantastic because everything is aligned. You have the idea of a block. If we enclose this beautiful conceptual image that you created into a block, I think that, you absolutely nailed it. But otherwise, love the color palette. Very well done.
I love that. Okay, I think that might have been the last one.
Yes.
You guys did such a great job. We got a lot of submissions today. I want to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Let's go back and have a look.
Boop, 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 boop. Yes, so thank you guys so much, and we will see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow with some more work on our Instagram stories and social media kit. Thank you so much for joining us. It was great to see you guys.
Great to see you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.